Stephen. I am thrilled to be here this afternoon and to see all of you here too. It's a great turnout for this event today. As you know, I have been Executive Director of the ACLU of Colorado for a little more than 3 months now. Prior to that, even though I have been a card-carrying member of the ACLU before, I had never been to an ACLU event like this one, so you're already ahead of where I was. I liked the ACLU, and I supported its causes and issues, but I sometimes took it for granted and took for granted the work that it did. What I've come to realize in a few short months is that the ACLU truly has a unique place in American culture, and it is an unusually effective organization, protecting our most basic rights and civil liberties. There is nothing else quite like the ACLU. I've known and been involved with plenty of nonprofit organizations, and I've been an activist for social justice in Iowa and Mississippi, as well as here in Colorado. But despite a lot of good work, it's easy to feel helpless in the face of overwhelming challenges. There certainly are huge challenges to civil liberties in our nation. Challenges to equal protection, First Amendment rights, and due process. I find the idea of drone strikes on American citizens more than troubling. But the ACLU does not feel helpless, and I find that refreshing. This is an organization with teeth. Whether through litigation, legislation, education, investigation, communication, or mobilization, we change laws and policies, we set right injustices, and we protect the constitutional liberties that define our nation at its best. I should say that we do work in partnership with many other organizations, and I appreciate them very much. From Planned Parenthood, of course, to One Colorado, from Common Cause on voting rights to CCJRC on criminal justice reform, several partners on immigration rights, and on specific issues like death penalty repeal. There's the NAACP, the Colorado Progressive Coalition, Interfaith Alliance, and many more. We're not alone, and by working in partnership, we extend what we can accomplish. But in most of the biggest battles for civil liberties in our history, the ACLU has been there, often in the lead, even when it has stood alone, even when defending the constitutional rights of people we may not like, because if their rights aren't protected, then none of our rights are safe. I've heard, and I believe it's true, that the ACLU has argued more cases before the Supreme Court than any other organization besides the U.S. Department of Justice. Alone or with others, the ACLU was there for the Scopes trial, Brown versus Board of Education, Doe versus Bolton, a companion case to Roe v. Wade, several landmark free speech cases, the Loving case for interracial marriage, Miranda rights, several due process and criminal justice cases, and many more. I just got back from my first National ACLU staff meeting, and I got to hear Stephen Shapiro's brilliant summary of the 6 ACLU cases that will be argued before the Supreme Court just this year. One of those, the Windsor case, is one of the 2 marriage equality cases that will be heard by the Supreme Court next month. When Edie Windsor, when her beloved partner Thea passed away after more than 40 years together, Edie was hit with more than $300,000 of estate tax that she wouldn't have had if their marriage had been recognized by the federal government. This is just wrong. It is time to end the Defense of Marriage Act and to defend real freedom to marry for everyone. Yes. What is true nationally is also true here in Colorado. The ACLU of Colorado has a strong history of defending free speech and ending discrimination, such as the Amendment 2 case in the 1990s. Just last month, we got a successful ruling in a free speech case against a no solicitation zone in Colorado Springs that would have banned even street musicians with open guitar cases and Salvation Army bell ringers. We just won a $1 million settlement for a wrongful death case on the Western Slope, where Jason Kemp did not let state troopers into his home without a warrant, but they broke through his door anyway and shot and killed him. Part of the settlement includes Fourth Amendment training for the Colorado State Patrol. And after Heather Bergbacher was fired for expressing breast milk for her daughter, part of her settlement included policy changes in the school system where she was employed. We don't always win, and there are thousands of cases proposed to us each year that we can't begin to take. But what we do makes a difference. We have a heart for freedom and fairness for all people, but we also have teeth. We also have some amazing opportunities before us in the Colorado legislature and its current session. A civil unions bill is going to pass. And it will be even better than last year's. And the opportunity, plug that way too. The opportunity is here before us to pass death penalty repeal here in Colorado. There is really a serious chance of that in this session, although that's not a sure thing. We have opportunities to pass voting rights reform, privacy protection, immigration rights, including tuition fairness and driver's licenses, anti-discrimination, an exoneration fund for those wrongfully convicted, several other criminal justice reforms, and much more. With regard to the gun control debate that's going on, our main role there is to watch for civil liberties issues in any legislation that is proposed. Just as an aside, no matter what you think about about gun control or Second Amendment issues, which is a tricky one for us sometimes, I still say that it's unfair that the NRA has more than twice the resources of the ACLU nationally, while we're defending the whole Bill of Rights and they only have to defend one half of one half. In any case, here in Colorado, we're defeating challenges to reproductive rights, and we're defeating attempts to use religion to discriminate. You'll hear more about that in a little while from Louise Mellon. I've never seen a legislative session like this one before, and again, whether with partners or whether on our own, the ACLU is out there on the front lines. On the education front, we're hiring a director of communications and outreach. I want to engage and build upon the work of our Speakers Bureau and our chapter program. The National ACLU is rolling out a new online ACLU action program to make it easier for committed individuals like you to get involved. And we're bringing in more interns and volunteers. I want us to communicate better with all of you, and I feel confident that we will. When you step into an organization from the outside, as I've just done, you see it with fresh eyes, including seeing things that might be easy to take for granted. I can tell you some of what I have seen that is pretty remarkable. For one thing, I have never seen an organization where there is such good cooperation between the national organization and the local affiliates. The national staff are outstanding, and so are the members of our staff here in Colorado. Mark Silverstein has been the Rock of Gibraltar for our legal program for many years. Give him a hand. And he has great partners in our attorneys Sarah Rich and Rebecca Wallace, not to mention our cooperating attorneys, legal panel, interns, and intake volunteers. Denise Mays is working hard on the legislative front with our lobbyists and public policy assistant Kyla. Pat and Rachel are leading the way in our vital development efforts. Deputy Director Stephen Mesward is working on all of the above and keeping our operations going along with Karen and Trish and Arlette and our media consultant Jenny. It is a really wonderful team. Part of what has amazed me about the National ACLU is the commitment to having strong affiliates everywhere in our nation, because we never know where the next challenge to civil liberties might occur. Our experience with the Personhood Amendment here in Colorado helped the ACLU defeat a Personhood Amendment in Mississippi, a place I know all too well and know that it's a much tougher task there. All affiliates are assured a minimum level of operational support. And in some places, where the ACLU sees great potential and significant need, they're investing strategically to help affiliates grow to a new level. Colorado is one of those affiliates. Part of why we have such an excellent staff is because of significant support from the Strategic Affiliate Initiative of the National ACLU. But as that support goes away, which it will, we will need to stand on our own feet. What that means is that over the next few years, we will need to at least double the funds we raise and probably more than triple our major gifts. Gifts of $10, $25, $50, or even $100,000. I have a list with more than 30 donors around the United States who have made gifts of $1 million or more to the ACLU. But none of them are from Colorado. One of my personal goals is to find the first person from Colorado. Every bit of support we get matters, from small memberships to the largest major gifts. As you probably know, the ACLU is actually two connected organizations. The one that does not have limits on lobbying is the one where your memberships go, the one you get the card for, but it isn't tax deductible. Those membership gifts are especially flexible and very valuable to us. The other organization, which does just about everything else, can receive tax deductible contributions. We take no government grants and only limited private grants, so our work depends almost entirely on the support of people like you who believe in civil rights and civil liberties. Even our own staff donates to the organization, and I can tell you that I am doubling my own gift to the ACLU of Colorado today. I'm very optimistic about the future of the ACLU of Colorado and about what we can do for freedom and justice in this state. If we meet the financial challenge before us, our effectiveness will only grow. Whether we're working for free speech, or separation of church and state, or the right to vote, or ending over-incarceration, or the drug war, or solitary confinement for the mentally ill, for ending state-sponsored killing and torture, for protecting reproductive rights, or immigrant rights, for racial justice, or privacy, or marriage equality, or due process, our work is cut out for us. So it gives me heart to see you here today, and together there is no limit to what we can do. Thank you. And I will turn our program over at this point to our board chair, Rayhan Hassan.